Hey folks, I'm just going to give everyone a second here to get logged in and then we'll get started. All right, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you guys may be joining us from today. Welcome to today's webinar, co-hosted by the New York Oracle User Group and Oracle partner Viscosity. We have a powerhouse of presenters for you today, so we're very thankful and excited to see what they've got to show us. This is a live webinar, so feel free to submit questions in the Q&A field, and our speakers will get to you as they can or following their presentation. Be sure to stay on till the end because we've got a cool demo for you, provisioning Exascale in the public cloud. All right, if you have not been to a Viscosity NYOUG webinar before, welcome. My name is Monica Lee. I'm the marketing director here at Viscosity, a full Oracle Stat consulting firm with core expertise in Oracle database, including RAC, Oracle Apex. We perform near zero downtime migrations, and we do a lot of performance tuning and high availability products. We've got decades of experience with infrastructure, including engineered systems, and you'll hear a little more about me from the viscosity perspective. But first, I want to introduce you guys to the New York Oracle User Group board members, Coleman and Rob. Coleman's going to tell us a little bit about NYOUG. I'll tell you about viscosity, and then we'll get started.
Thank you, Monica. I'll make it very quick because we have a lot to cover today in this webinar. So the New York Oracle Users Group was formed over 40 years ago for the exchange of ideas, assistance, and support among users of Oracle software products. Next slide. And you can connect with us on NYOUG.org as well as Facebook and Meetup and all social media. And I just want to thank Viscosity for co-hosting these series of webinars for the past 5 years and ongoing and very strong. Thank you, Monica.
Awesome. Thanks, Coleman. All right. As I said, my name's Monica. I work here at Viscosity, where we work to enable business transformation at a time when companies must change to survive. We have been working on preparing all of our customers for 23 AI, making sure they're up to date and they know the pathways for everything to come. We are built upon these three main pillars: data, apps, and cloud or infrastructure. Down across the bottom, you'll see a bunch of different services we offer across all three pillars. So if anything here speaks to any pain points, future projects, anything you guys have coming up your way, let us know if you need any assistance. It could just be pure consulting, thought, leadership, roadmaps, things like that, or if you actually need some help getting proof of concepts down or with managed services, we're also here for you for that. These are a couple books. We have maybe, gosh, I think 25 or 30 plus books across our consultants now. So these are some of our most popular or some of our newest books. So we hopefully will be updating a couple of these too, such as our performance tuning book and our upgrading Oracle databases book. On this slide, I really just like to highlight one main thing, which is Oracle License Management. We've kind of talked a lot about these other bubbles here, but license management, whether you work with Viscosity or any other Oracle partner, I always recommend you go there first to figure out what you actually need to purchase. And you also have a little follow-up to make sure you're taking advantage of your investments throughout your journey. So I would always go to a partner because we do it so often. We work with Oracle so often. We work with licensing so often. It's just much easier. And for a bunch of Oracle users and organizations like you all, you may only do this every several years, right? So it's nice to have someone very familiar with the process, and just, again, to make sure you're buying what you need and using what you need. All right, these are some of my colleagues that hopefully you've met, seen speak. Maybe you own some of their books or see their blogs, but these are folks from Viscosity that are part of the Oracle ACE program. I always like to share this slide because Viscosity as an organization really values knowledge share. We love our Oracle user groups like NYOUG. And so these folks here, they give you a lot of great free content. So I would highly recommend seeking them out, seeing what they have published, or where they're speaking next. And as I said, this is a live webinar. Viscosity posts all of their public webinars to orapub.com. That is our training website. And NYOUG, they publish theirs at nyoug.org. So you always have access to these webinar recordings that we do. If you go to orapub.com, you do have to create at least a free membership. There are some paid tiers. I also like to recommend asking your employer if they would reimburse you for anything because it is great training. Most of our content is performance based. So if that's something you do daily or you need to expand some of your skill sets, I would absolutely go check that out right now, or at least after this webinar. All right. And with that, my last little point is Case Scope 25. This is going to be in Texas, which is where I'm based, so I'll be there. It is an Oracle user group, a nationwide Oracle user group, and they go to different cities each summer. Great speakers there. Tons of Oracle product managers are there. I highly recommend it, especially for those that are maybe more in a development or financial role within Oracle. So if you want, or if your colleagues want, $100 off with our code here. If you miss the slide and think of it later, I can send you an update to that. But otherwise, head to events.viscosityna.com to sign up for more events like this today. NYOUG also has them posted. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Coleman, who's going to introduce our speakers, and we'll get started.
Thank you, Monica. As I said, I'll just make it a brief introduction because we have a lot to cover today. Ashish Ray is the Vice President of Product Management over at Oracle. Thank you, Ashish. Bryce is Product Manager over at Oracle as well. And Charles Kim is the Viscosity CEO. So I want to thank everybody again for attending this webinar, and please go ahead.
All right, thank you guys. While I get started, we do have 5 Oracle ACE directors now at Viscosity. It's something that we're very proud of, and a lot of our expertise is around performance tuning, but we have guys who do a lot of AI. We have a bunch of guys who are into the cloud as well, and so we're heavily evangelizing a lot of the cloud products as well as uh, uh, AI as well. So a little bit about myself, and then I'll just focus on one thing is that we work closely with Oracle product management teams across the different database products, and we co-authored books on Exadata and Data Guard and new features and even like Linux recipes in the past. And so amongst our books that we do lately is on upgrading. We have a book on upgrading to 19C. We have a book on performance tuning. Both of them are actually being updated right now. In fact, Gary Gordhammer wrote the performance tuning book, and in fact, he's already doing 23 AI new features presentations. And so we're going to add a lot of that into those books. And so if you want to get access to the latest new features of 23 AI as well as performance tuning 23 AI, get with Monica and we'll show you how to get access to those. We're also, we have developed with AuraPub, we took all of our performance tuning books that we have amongst Rich Nemec, Gary, Craig, we even uploaded Exadata books as well as a lot of the Oracle internal books. And we created a website specifically a chatbot for AI. And so we use, depending on who we work with, and we demo this quite a bit, we have with Gen AI, with Vector Store, with MySQL, or even autonomous, and with OCI, with Gen AI services. And so we can actually do a lot of demos across the Oracle products as well as non-Oracle products as well. And so we're right now in the middle of migrating some of this stuff for, again, for demo purposes more than anything else, and to show capabilities of AI uh, with the including a lot of the RAG features and a lot of the vectorization features as well. So just like Monica said, we have written quite a bit of books. We are over 30 now, including pluggable databases, which is relevant to today's content, as well as the uh, Exadata book, which is what we're talking about today. If you look at the Oracle support lifetime commitments, most of you guys should be on 19C. And if you are not, you should definitely consider upgrading to 19C. Oracle has recently updated their support end dates. So 19C is, from a premier support perspective, will be available until end of 2029 with extended support going up to 2032. So a lot of customers who have EULAs have extended supports. Customers who are on EBS, they get free extended support. So they're good till 2032. 23 AI, as you guys know, are available in cloud and engineer systems, but um, we're waiting, as you guys know, that for the on-premise release. But Oracle has already updated the premier support to go to end of 2032. And so there is a within Viscosity, every year we do the 12 days of Oracle features, and we have a full listing and blog relative to this on top of here. Right, so for today's agenda perspective, here are the key areas we're going to talk about. Exadata new features, and then we'll go to Exascale and talk more about the partnership. In fact, that we're going to be flipping this around a little bit, more the partnership, the Exadata 11M, Exascale. And please stay tuned for the demo that's coming up in Exascale. So it's going to be really cool. And then we'll talk a little bit about Q&A throughout the discussion. And as you have questions, we'll interject them as well. So the first question is 23 AI available today? And Ashish, please feel free to interject at any time. But last year, Oracle did announce really big announcements about availability in their engineer systems as well as in the cloud.
Yes, Charles, absolutely right. So I can take that from here. And before I do that, and thanks for the opportunity. Thanks to you and Monica and Viscosity for allowing us to be at your webinar and interact with your customers and your end users. And special thanks to Rob and Coleman and the New York Oracle User Group organization for continuing to champion Oracle technologies within our customer base. Coming back to this topic, yes, it has been around since last year. So Oracle 23 AI, in case you are wondering what platforms it's available, cloud or on-premises, do continue to refer to this note that I have that in the subtitle, MOS note 306.8039.1. We continue to update this. And as you know, last year in May timeframe, approximately a year back, we announced support on Oracle Cloud, and that includes hybrid cloud, which is Exadata Cloud at Customer. We followed that soon after with announcements of 23 AI support in Exadata and Oracle Database Appliance platform. And in July of last year, we announced support of Exascale technology and Exascale service in our public cloud, and that also supports, and that requires, in fact, 23 AI. To the next slide, Charles. Yes, Charles alluded to our strong partnership and what we have done. What we have done with regards to this partnership is we are making Oracle database available with full functionality, and that includes RAC and Exadata in the three major hyperscalers, and that is Azure, Google, and AWS. I also have a link towards the bottom of the slide where we continue to update the page as more and more services become available in these hyperscalers. But the net of this is we are actually putting Exadata systems in these hyperscalers. So that means for the first time, customers can leverage the familiar hyperscaler ecosystem, application ecosystem, whether it's OLTP analytics or AI, but have the full functionality of Oracle database, no restrictions, and also of Oracle Exadata, no restrictions. We got the head start with Azure, And we have continued that with Google and with AWS and with also the Exascale announcement that is also captured tremendous interest within these hyperscalers. So this combination of 23 AI, Exadata X11M, and Exascale, plus our strong multi-cloud foundation with Azure, Google, and AWS, this makes Oracle database with this converged data management functionality really appealing to a broad group of developers and also IT managers and IT directors. For the first time, they can leverage the full functionality and flexibility and agility of multi-cloud without any compromise. Let's look into each of this in details. So the first, as I mentioned, we got started with Microsoft. In fact, we got started with Microsoft a few years back, leveraging the Azure Interconnect. But then soon we transitioned into the database at Azure solution. And this is the solution where we have deployed Exadata systems in Azure regions. And the whole idea is you can now deploy your applications on Exadata, deploy your application leveraging database on Exadata with the minimal latencies. There is no separate network integration that you have to do. All of this is done by the cloud engineers, both from Azure and also Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Group. So we have enabled this integration for you. So you can now deploy databases in Azure, and we will take care of deploying these databases on Exadata systems. For full details, refer to the hyperlink at the bottom of this slide.
Yeah, in fact, we actually have one of our largest pharmaceutical customers um, going to migrating their Exadata from on-premise and leveraging the Exa at Azure right now.
Yeah, good point, Charles. And one thing, Charles, if you don't mind going back, um, you can purchase Oracle services in Azure using Azure credits. And I'm sure, Charles, you are seeing that within your customer base as well.
And we are, and in fact, this is where you actually see Oracle sales reps working with the Microsoft sales reps, and so that's a breath of fresh air too.
Yes. So it's a very strong technology partnership across these hyperscalers, but at the same time, it's also a strong commercial and business partnership. So again, from a customer standpoint, the productivity benefit is you don't have to figure out the integration. You don't have to figure out the commercial integration as well. Both the cloud providers, Oracle and one of the three hyperscalers, we have taken care of all the foundations for you. And similarly, we have continued this with Google as well. Oracle database with RAC, with Exadata Autonomous Database, Exadata Database Service, all of these are available in Google Cloud. And the interesting point is the zero downtime migration solution also works for all the hyperscaler cloud endpoints, which means if you were to transition from your current on-premises to one of these at hyperscaler solutions, you can leverage zero downtime migration solution without any downtime, as the name implies. And just like Azure, you can simplify your contract and purchasing experience leveraging Google Cloud credits. And again, the hyperlink at the bottom of this slide has all the details of all the various cloud services that are available with Google Cloud. And finally, AWS and Oracle Cloud. We announced this in December of last year, and the general availability is expected soon. And again, the goal is similar to that of Azure and Google, that is make the fully functional Oracle database available through Autonomous Database and through Exadata Database Service on Exadata systems directly in Azure, directly in AWS regions. And again, the benefit is unified experience between OCI and AWS, minimal latencies, real multi-cloud benefits. And what we have seen from our customers, why they like such multi-cloud solutions, really at this time where the interconnected world is even more interconnected, really there should not be any barrier, there should not be any walls between cloud deployments. For certain applications, you may want to deploy in one hyperscaler. For certain other applications, you may also want to deploy in another hyperscaler. but the underlying database that should remain consistent. And what I mean by that is, as applications, or from your standpoint, if you are the CIO or if you are the IT director, you don't have to worry about application changes as you're migrating applications from on-premises to one particular cloud. And because Oracle database is available in a fully converged data management functionality, leveraging performance, scalability, reliability, security, for all workloads, including OLTP, analytics, and modern AI workloads, you are rest assured that you have the full flexibility of cloud without worrying about any application impact. In fact, you will be able to run your applications with the fullest performance, fullest scalability, and the fullest availability. And that, in some sense, if you look back at this, it really lowers your TCOs. It really improves your overall cloud experience.
And in fact, this AWS partnership has been a game changer with several of our largest healthcare and financial customers because they have most of their heavy cloud burden has been on AWS. And so as they were concerned about how I'm going to move my Exadata and do multi-cloud with AWS and Oracle, now they're like, you know what, our plans are to go straight to AWS at Oracle. And so this has been a lot of our discussion points. In fact, one of our healthcare customers they've been doing the POC on this since like past March, and so we're looking forward to how this will simplify their cloud adoption as well as their billing as well.
Okay, good point, Charles. In fact, what we have seen, Charles, and maybe this is something of your experience too, that even though some customers may have one particular cloud strategy, in this case, you mentioned AWS, they have been reluctant to move or migrate to cloud from their on-premises Oracle databases because they have been used to the on-premises database and Exadata experience for so many years, and they knew that they will not necessarily get the tremendous performance benefits if they were to migrate to a non-Exadata deployment for database perspective in one of the hyperscalers. But now that we have the latest Exadata systems with Oracle Database Service, with its autonomous database or Exadata database service available in multi-cloud, I think this will really expedite the cloud transition and hence the IT modernization. Is this something that you would tend to agree, Charles?
Oh, absolutely, because they already have a lot of their footprint on RDS already. And so as they work on scalability strategies for their databases, they can put the mission critical databases, keep them on Exadata, but then they even have an autonomous database option too for more workloads that maybe RDS can't handle and put them in autonomous and then put the mission critical and Exadata.
Yes. Yes. Good point, Charles. Yes, Charles, and this is an interesting question we get from our user base. Will Oracle allow zero downtime migration solution to be leveraged for AWS Exascale migrations? Yes, absolutely. Zero downtime migration is a great solution kit that is available to all our customers at no extra cost. And this allows you to migrate to your desired end product, and this end product could be Oracle Database on OCI or Oracle Database at one of the hyperscalers, and you can leverage this solution to migrate your applications over with no downtime.
Yeah, and in fact, even ZDM, as you upgrade to, let's say from X8 Exadata to X11M Exadata, you can use ZDM to migrate your databases uh, for free as well for zero downtime migrations.
Great point. So let's talk about X11 innovations, shall we, Charles?
Yes, that's
Yes. So we will get started with some of the hardware aspects. And what's interesting about any Exadata generation, while we may start with the hardware aspects, you have to remember that what makes Exadata happen is really the underlying software, what we refer to as Exadata system software. And it is the Exadata system software, it is the unique algorithms that we have built in this software that makes it a real data intelligent layer. So the combination of data intelligence software plus data optimized hardware, this combination is what really makes Exadata unique. Over the last so many several years, Exadata first launched in 2008, so it has been 17 plus years. And this has been a unique system with regards to scalability, high availability, reliability, performance, and security. We have continued this with the recent launch of Exadata X11M. Again, as you see, what we have done is for each of the choices that we have made, whether it's the database servers, whether it's the Exadata storage servers, whether it's the individual processors and the memory and the flash and the hard drive and the network, that combined with the software, that has made this orders of multiple better compared to the previous generation, which we shipped just like a couple of years back. So this is the tremendous pace of innovation that drives the Exadata engineering. And this is what makes Exadata unique within the industry. So as you saw from one of the initial bullets, um, yeah, upfront, what we have noticed adopting the latest AMD processor plus the optimizations we have built in the software that enabled Exadata per CPU 25% faster compared to X10M. And this combination comes from, again, the individual hardware components, but also, again, I cannot reiterate this enough, all the software optimizations that we have built. Along with the core database server, we have also introduced a one-socket database server Z model. And this allows get started. This allows you to get started with Exadata at a lower price point. Maybe you have departmental workloads, maybe you have divisional workloads for which you don't necessarily need the performance and scale and availability of the 96 core per socket processor database servers. So database server Z, one socket that allows you to get started really easily. And there also you notice we have performance improvements compared to the X10M version. And what we have seen also from many of our customers, the demand for memory hungry applications keep on rising. Today, there is no clear distinction between OLTP and analytics. If you're doing a complex financial transaction, yeah, that is OLTP, but at the same time, at, in parallel, you have to run anti-money laundering checks, which is deep analytics, and all of that literally have to be done in the order of microseconds. And that is why this combination of low microsecond latency plus memory, high bandwidth, low latency memory, it is of extreme importance to many of our workloads. So we have flexible memory choices, much higher performance memory available with both the standard Exadata database server as well also the database server Z. All the innovations that we have made in the database server, we have continued similar innovations in the storage server. And in the storage server also, we have introduced the high capacity Z storage server. Again, enables you to get started with Exadata at a lower price point compared to the standard storage server. So it's a one socket server, but it still has two flash cards and it has still enough XRMEM cache to enable the low microseconds worth of latency. That has been the hallmark of all Exadata OLTP IO. So the net of this is this combination of Exadata database servers and storage server plus flexible starting points with the Z servers that allows you to adopt Exadata at any point in the application spectrum. And two things to remember here is we have like for like, we have not changed prices between X10M and X11M. So this gives you an immense price performance benefits. And the case number two, again, as I mentioned, I can't reiterate this enough, is really the tremendous power of Exadata system software, which enables all of this to be possible. And that is the summary. The unique data intelligence software enables orders of magnitude higher performance than competitive database systems and also compared to the previous releases. In fact, within our group, within our product group, we will not release an Exadata system unless we see that it is able to have significant advantages and benefits compared to the previous releases. And that does include TCO savings.
Which brings up to again, what does the performance numbers look like compared to X10 on an X11? And why would customers want to upgrade to X11?
Yes, I will answer the second question first, Charles, before I transition to the first question. And the reason is, if you look at this, when we say much, it is performant by a much higher degree compared to X10M, that allows you to accomplish more work using fewer resources in less time. Again, more work, fewer resources in less time. In net, that means your business productivity really goes up. We have had numerous cases where, for example, our financial services customers tell us that in prior generations of Exadata or even in competitive systems, the time it takes them to run the end of the month report, it literally could be multiple hours spanning almost a day. In Exadata, done, it is reduced drastically. And that means where regulatory compliance is of increased importance for any industry, whether it's telecom, whether it's finance, the ability to close your books in a record time is just one example of the strong business driver or the business productivity that such a system can enable. So with regards to specific performance numbers, let's look into some of the details, Charles.
Yeah, before you go there, I have a story too. We
Okay.
had a customer that we migrated from, Cisco UCS blades to Exadata, and they ran their month-end job after we did the cutover to the Exadata, and they came to us and said, "Hey, this month-end job didn't run. You guys missed something." And then so we looked at the OEM jobs, and what used to take 4 hours took 4 minutes. And so they just thought it didn't run. And so once we went through all the logs, they looked at all the reports, and we're like, oh my gosh, it finished in 4 minutes.
They probably thought it was a bug, right, Charles?
Yeah, they did at first, yes.
Yes. Yeah, and you have, Charles, here some relevant performance numbers. I mentioned this earlier, the CPU up to 25% better performance per core. And you're right, mileage will vary by application. This is something we tested in our labs. And again, as I mentioned, we will not release new Exadata systems. Still, we are convinced that we can see immense performance gains in the latest generation using the same workloads that we had tested on the previous generation. So this combination of processor, this combination of memory, you rightly pointed out, 33% improved memory-bound workloads performance, 4800 to 6400 megatransfers per second. And then also using the next generation flash, plus the software. I can't reiterate this enough. The software. This combination of the hardware improvements and the software optimizations is really what makes this system really stand out. And Exadata X11M has been phenomenal in this regard.
Yeah, there's a question that Bryce answered, but it was a question on what is the key difference between X11 compared to an X8 in terms of memory, CPU, and throughput. Um, and back in the X8 days, we had Intel chips, and now we have AMD chips. And on top of that, the number of cores have significantly increased between the various models between X8 to X11. And so, I mean, it's the key thing is that, not only have the number of cores increased, I mean, by a factor of like between X8 to X11, isn't it like 4x at least, right? And so it's all about the number of, servers that you have in a rack to, the amount of racks that you have for um, pay, as you pay your service providers. And so, which leads actually to the next feature as well, is that we want to reduce the power consumption as well as the number of racks that we have, so we can store more with less.
Yes, Charles, absolutely. Let's talk about that. But before I do, just like one point, if the question was, hey, X8 compared to X11M, if we can literally interpret the question, X8 is the last InfiniBand release, and we transitioned to the Rocky release or the Rocky network in X8M. So if the question is really the performance differences between X8 and X11M, a lot of the performance differences, a significant part of the performance differences you do to our adopting the Rocky network. And Rocky, as you know, stands for RDMA over Converged Ethernet. And the fact that we can do RDMA across database servers and storage servers over an immensely powerful, high bandwidth, low latency network, that's what enabled us to drive our IO latencies from what used to be low hundreds of microseconds to literally low tens of microseconds. And that is phenomenal. And that has not been done elsewhere in the industry. That is transactional workload, database workloads being accessed over RDMA, just as if it's a memory mapped IO. That is systems and computer science innovations like this really make Exadata really stand out and be unique. So you're right, Charles, new power management features. Green computing, sustainability, these are very important topics for anyone in the industry today. And in response to customer demands and requirements in this area, we have introduced new power management features with Exadata X11M and also with the latest generation of Exadata system software. Let's look into some of this in details. This is where, Charles, you have this accurately portrayed. And that is number one, we have the power management controls built directly inside the Exadata system using a combination of hardware and software. So for example, now you can disable or turn off unused database CPUs, and that will help on the power consumption. Using very simple DBM CLI commands, alter DB server pending core count as what you are seeing in the slide. You can also create what's called a low power mode schedule. So for example, maybe at the evening hours or in the weekend hours, your system is not as busy as it is in the weekday hours. Now, I say this with a bit of a caveat because I know these days every system runs 24/7. But if you have any other systems which maybe are incurring low workload in the weekends, you can create a low power mode schedule, and Exadata will intelligently optimize the CPU usage across this low power and high power schedules. And I believe in this slide also, Charles, you have some nuances with regards to AI and Exascale. I suppose we will touch upon them in subsequent slides.
Yes.
Why would customers go with Exadata Cloud at customer? What's great about this, Charles, is Exadata Cloud at customer, which is our hybrid cloud offering. It enables you to do very unique things, two very unique things, along with many things else. Number one, this allows you to enjoy the power of cloud within your data center behind your firewall, which means it enables you to get more control over your cloud deployment with the least disruption possible. This is the full OCI cloud experience, Exadata cloud experience, but at your data center. So that's number one. And number two, this makes Exadata and Oracle database available to you again without any restrictions, full functionality. So again, no compromises. This is one of our most popular cloud offerings within our enterprise customer base. They feel that if adopting this model, they can see that they can leverage Exadata and Oracle database as a service and then offload all infrastructure maintenance, which means hardware maintenance, hypervisor maintenance, firmware maintenance, all of this maintenance to Oracle, and that's all included in this solution. So this is very popular, Charles. And you have some key points here, good points here, Charles. I think I kind of attested to all of these. But the security compliance is a big deal, and I believe you see that within your customer base also. Is that right, Charles?
Yeah, in fact, one of our larger financial customers went with Exadata Cloud customer last year, and they have they had a huge footprint of Exadata on premise, and they had directive from their board to be more cloud. And so they decided to do Exadata Cloud Customer. And for them, the reason for them was mainly because of latency and security were the two reasons why they couldn't quite adopt OCI or wait for AWS at Exadata. And so they chose Exadata Cloud Customer. And what they also did was they decided to swap their licenses. And so they gave up all of their on-premise licenses and went with license included with their Exeter Cloud customer. And so by doing that, they were able to save quite a bit of money in their license cost. And what we did was we worked closely with Oracle sales team and did the 4 or 5 year TCO analysis of their license cost relative to their subscription price that they would pay. And so the key thing is that, and you hear this a lot is from people saying that cloud is more expensive if you do a 5 year TCO. But and that's exactly what we did. We went to the CIO. He wouldn't take a meeting with us for 6 months because he was like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And then when we showed him with numbers, he was like, okay, let's go all in. And so not only did they, give up their licensing, but they just refreshed all of their on-premise with Exadata Cloud Customer.
Yeah, great points, Charles.
And
And
and this is how they did it. We actually wrote them scripts to spin up CPUs in the morning. Actually, they're just the opposite. They do a ton of batch jobs at night, and so their entire business is batch job driven at night. And so what we did was uh, at 5 p.m. we're spinning up a lot of their cores, and then at 7 a.m. we're spinning them all down. And so by doing that and making it truly elastic, they were able to save a lot of money on their OCPU licensing.
great points, Charles. Yes, and we see this within our customer base also. With Exadata Cloud, that is the Exadata database service, is absolutely true. And this gets even better with autonomous database, as the next slide will suggest. Yes, with autonomous database, we have auto scaling. So this really is catered towards your workloads, and you don't have to like really size for the peaks. You can just like ride along based on your application workload changes. And the auto scaling feature and solution within autonomous database has been extremely popular and a great money saver, literally, for all our cloud customers.
And next is from an AI perspective. I know I ask Ashish all the time, what are the AI features that's coming with Exadata? In fact, I think 2 years ago, I asked you, will the GPUs be on the storage cells or will the GPUs be on the Exadata? And you basically told me that we don't need GPUs. Just how fast that we can perform and parallelize.
Yes, so Charles, you have to think from an Oracle database perspective, and that's where Oracle Database 23 AI comes in. The premier feature of Oracle Database 23 AI is AI vector search, and what AI vector search enables you to do is to deep semantic search in an Gen AI context, which means you can run RAG, that is retrieval augmented generation, with your favorite LLMs on your private business data. And what that means is essentially two things. Number one is you have to create embedding models of the assets of the media that you are searching, and it could be images, it could be text, it could be documents, PDFs, and you can store those vectors inside the Oracle database. So that's number one. And where RAG comes in is you have to retrieve very fast those relevant vectors, and then you have to augment the LLM prompt with those vectors. Hence, and the third step, generate a new response in a business augmented way. And the entire thing of storing these vectors, indexing these vectors, and then doing similarity search on these vectors and retrieving these vectors can happen at an Exadata scale. And what that means is Exadata automatically offloads all these AI vector search related workloads in the highly parallelized Exadata storage layer. And that it does completely transparently using this feature AI Smart Scan. There are no application changes required, no system configuration, no Linux configuration, no database configuration required. And see, this is the unique benefit of Exadata. Now you can run your AI workloads related to AI Smart Scan and AI vector search in Exadata using phenomenal performance. And this does require the Oracle Database 23 AI. And Charles, as you point out, it does require the latest generation of Exadata system software, starting with Exadata 24 AI. And now let's transition to Exascale. Charles, you start off with a very good question. What makes Exascale special? We try to kind of respond to this in the next slide, Charles. So today, in cloud, the cloud storage is very popular, right? This whole notion of cloud object storage. But cloud object storage that's what it is, cloud object storage. It's available in a scalable manner, but it does not necessarily have all the performance and the smartness of Exadata. With Exascale, what we have done is we have integrated and we have homogenized, we have co-engineered all of Exadata Smart Scan, all storage index, offloads, that is all of Exadata intelligence with all the cloud storage agility and productivity through this Exadata Exascale system. So essentially, it's really a new, sophisticated, intelligent data architecture that delivers you best of Exadata and best of cloud. It's completely unique in the industry. Um, so what this means is really what we are doing, disaggregating storage and compute, especially in cloud. Now you can come in and you will see through the demo towards the end. Bryce will give you what it means to deploy Exascale in a public cloud. Here you can come in and say, hey, I want to get started like really small, but I want all the Exadata benefits. And guess what? I want only 500 gig of Exadata storage. Really, what we are giving you is Exascale storage. And yes, you will get 500 gig of Exascale or Exadata storage with the performance of DRAM, IOPS of flash, capacity of disks, net, all of Exadata smartness. And inside the architecture, the way we are enabling this, hyperscale, we are storing databases, as the slide says, as a set of 8 MB extents. And this map is mapped, or this database extent to the storage block mapping is maintained through a hash function. And this entire memory map table is in the database memories, which means the access can be through very fast RDMA. Remember, I initially stated that it's what RDMA that makes it very unique. And this is what enables Exascale to scale very rapidly without any of the traditional storage bottlenecks that you may see even in traditional storage, in cloud storage deployments. Moving on, next slide. Yes, I alluded to this. So here again, leveraging RDMA and SQL offload smart scan functionalities of Exadata that can be offloaded to the Exascale storage cloud. The database servers can simply send the request off to Exascale storage, and this vast pool of Exascale storage servers, but abstracted through the Exascale storage cloud, will take care of all the IO processing for you. So literally microseconds worth of latency and millions of IOPS of throughput. The scaling also happens very transparently and very easily. So the traditional benefits of tiering across memory, flash, and hard drive completely available with Exascale, query offloads, columnar caching, storage indexes, much more. And here the benefit is like it's really optimizing the storage intelligence without any of the traditional requirements of storage being tied to a particular server. Here, the exascale storage, especially in public cloud, is distributed across many pool of storage servers. So you, from a database standpoint, you literally don't have to worry about, okay, do I provision this storage server or that storage server? All you want is to provision some storage. You will get the storage, and then you will be able to use the storage with all the Exadata benefits. the entry configuration look like? And the entry configuration is really, it enables you to get started really at a smaller workload level, but with all the benefits of Exadata. So I think the next slide addresses this, the entry configuration. Yes, so remember, this is a fully fledged Exadata configuration, but allows you to start low, which means it is very suitable for smaller workloads, but the workloads that are also require the performance benefits of Exadata. But now, starting small, you can easily scale as these workloads go on the same Exascale configuration. So you can start with 8 eCPUs, 22 gig of memory, 300 gig of Exadata database storage, and then you can go in increments of 4 eCPUs each. You can add more VMs, you can scale your storage, you can scale your compute without any downtime. So it's really a very low affordable entry cost in a pay-per-use model.
And I think it'd be a big hit with the SMB and mid-market, or customers who have never got into Exadata, and they always had, interest in Exadata, but just didn't want to pay the sticker price of Exadata. And so I think this would be really attractive to those customers. And I think the key thing that I take away from Exascale is the no price for IOPS. And so as we put customers, let's say on Azure or AWS, and they need the 100,000 IOPS, that the cost of adding NVMe storage, you know, significantly increases their cost of adoption for cloud. And so with Exadata and with Exascale, because we're getting all the engineering of Exadata, we don't pay extra for the IOPS. So I think that's going to be huge with a lot of the customers.
Yes, absolutely, Charles. In some cloud providers, we have seen as you get more provisioned IOPS, you tend to pay more. And in fact, I have a LinkedIn post on this, but we don't have any such things in Exascale or Exadata or even in OCI for our database cloud deployments. All the IOPS, millions of IOPS per second, they're all literally available to you on day one without any extra charge.
Yes, and then before we go to the next slide, I remember having my very first conversation with you about Exascale. It's the provisioning and the thin provisioning, I mean the cloning and the thin provisioning that we're going to cover is going to be a game changer as well.
Yes, absolutely, Charles. And let's quickly cover this provisioning experiences before we transition over to the overall um, provision experiences through the demo by Bryce. Yes, so what this enables you to do is database aware intelligent clones. It's really storage efficient clones using a redirect on write technology, and which means that you can create a snapshot, you can clone and snapshot in a very storage efficient manner, which means the storage is provisioned only if the underlying blocks change. Otherwise, it points back to the previous or to the previous copy in the snapshot hierarchy. And the big deal or the big difference compared to exascale storage provisioning or exascale snapshots compared to our existing sparse snapshots in Exadata is uh, the the parent copy can go through changes, but the underlying snapshot will still be valid. And that is a big restriction remover that many of our customers love. And in fact, this enables Exascale to be deployed very easily and in a very agile manner for dev test environment, especially the way we have integrated SQL and PDBs in this smart snapshot technology. Moving to the next slide. Yes, as I mentioned, this entire portfolio is available through Exascale. You can thin clone a PDB into the same container database, or you can take a PDB, thin clone into a different container database. You can create a snapshot carousel of pluggable databases and thin clone entire database with snapshot files of source database. All of this is available through simple SQL commands, but the big deal here with all the Exadata smartness, no compromises there. So again, Smart Scan, Storage Index, HCC, all of this available, and RDMA, all of this available without any restrictions.
Oh, and then a lot of people ask about snapshot carousels. And so we used to do a lot of research in snapshot carousel technology, and love that how Oracle has enhanced that feature significantly. And also the full support of GDB clone. That's another big thing too, because you have different customer bases, especially the customers who have been doing a lot of thin snapshot cloning. You have people who like the create pluggable database commands, but we also have a whole following of people who've been using GDB clone and love GDB clone and what it can do.
Yes, absolutely. And Charles, you have like specific examples here where you can leverage the thin clones on Exascale using data card technology. All of you can see the commands here. There's no point for me repeating the commands, but net is this just extends transparently the Exascale, smart Exascale technology with existing SQL syntax.
And the fact that you said that the master copy can change, uh,
Yes.
and that is a big plus for a lot of our customers too.
Exactly. Especially if you, and in many cases, we have layers or hierarchies of dev test databases, and nobody really likes to create a whole new test copy of, like, say, a 10 terabyte database. Developers want to work on the latest changes, and so this enables you to do that in a very storage efficient manner without any previous restrictions. Yeah, how can Exascale speed up application development? I think, Charles, we kind of touched upon this, and this is goes back to your favorite technology, PDB snapshot carousel, right, Charles?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is to show that we can use, ORDs as well as using the altered pluggable database command to create snapshots. But the key thing is that, as we'll talk about in this slide, is that Oracle has invested quite a bit in the number of snapshots. I remember in 12.2 when it came out, Oracle only allowed 7 snapshots in the snapshot carousel. And I noticed that with 23 AI, and it's probably, again, it's probably because of the exascale technology that's pushing this. In 23 AI, the number of snapshots you can take is 4,096. And so it works closely with a initialization parameter as well as the actual snapshotting itself. You can have it automated as you create the pluggable database to take snapshots every day, or but it's done in hours and minutes syntax, or you can manually take a snapshot as well along the way. So some customers want that full control. They want to be able to load a batch job. They want to be able to uh, uh, take the snapshot before and after a big data load, and then have that full control over where they can refresh to if they need to. And if you haven't really leveraged pluggable databases, there's so many features in pluggable databases, and this is another area that we're from a viscosity perspective, we're trying to work closely with product management because customers are adopting PDBs, but they don't really know the features of PDBs besides the fact that I have to be in a PDB. They don't realize that you can do like limit number of IOPS. You can throttle megabytes per second at the PDB level. Things like snapshot carousels, things like refreshable PDBs and stuff like that. There's so much technology in this thing that Exascale is really bringing it out to attention. And with that, we will turn it over to Bryce for the demo in Exascale.
Sure, I'll go ahead and share if you don't mind.
Sure, let me unshare. If I can unshare. I think you can just take over, I believe.
That work?
Okay.
Yeah, the audience have to click on Bryce Cracco's screen to enable to
We
see.
can see it. Looks good.
Wonderful. Great.
Okay. Thanks. So yeah, I'll do a brief console tour of our new service, Exadata database service on Exascale infrastructure. And this leverages a lot of the technology that Ashish spoke about. So what you'll see here, that's different than services you've seen in the past, is that there's no infrastructure object at all. So because we're leveraging Exascale under the covers here, what we're able to do is allow our customers to simply begin by provisioning VM clusters, which is great because you can have just a piece of a whole physical Exadata someplace rather than actually reserving like an entire rack or quarter rack of Exadata. So that dramatically lowers the starting scale point at which customers can get into this technology. And so what you see here is that at the top level, there's only two objects in the resource model here. There's VM clusters, and then there's the Exascale storage vaults. And so you begin by creating a VM cluster. Very simply put in the naming, pick where you want it to go in terms of availability domain, and then configure some specifics of the cluster, namely how many VMs do you want in this cluster, in this example too, and how many eCPUs do you want enabled per VM. Now, we do have this notion of enabled eCPUs and also additional reserved eCPUs. And so, if you want only, in this example, 8 eCPUs enabled that are actually serving the workload and therefore being billed from a usage perspective, but you want more eCPUs kind of on standby in case you have to scale up, you can add here in this example 16 total eCPUs. So you have 8 enabled, 8 additional reserved for a total of 16. Memory scales with the total eCPUs. So if you need a different ratio of memory to enabled eCPUs, the way you would accomplish that is by scaling these total eCPUs and leaving the enabled eCPUs alone. So that's kind of how that works. Continuing on, the VM file system storage now is also exascale based, meaning that you're not confined to like a physical server someplace for the storage capacity for the VM. So you simply put in how much storage you want per VM, and Exascale essentially goes and finds that storage and connects it for you. And then you can create what's called an Exascale database storage vault. Now, this is very simple. There's no management of data in Rico. There's just simply how much space do you want total for your databases, and it creates this object called a database storage vault that has a capacity attribute, in this example, 300 gigs. That's about it. From here, it's pretty much business as usual. You have your grid infrastructure. You put in your SSH keys so that you can access your VM later. Then you pick your network, your VCN, which is configured similar to our other public cloud services. You just select a client subnet and a backup subnet on a VCN that's already been created. You could choose a license included or bring your own license option. And then some diagnostics collection options, which help our operations in the event you would raise an SR in the future. And then you create your VM cluster. And after some time, the VM cluster is created and you're ready to go. So that's pretty simple for provisioning. One other thing I want to highlight is scaling, because not only can this service start much smaller than has ever been before possible with Exadata technology, but you can also scale quickly and automatically, and you can scale large.
And Bryce, what's very unique about that whole initial provisioning experience was end users didn't have to specify the number of database servers or the number of storage servers that they required. They simply
That's right.
started like with VM clusters and storage capacity, Exadata rich storage capacity. That's it.
That's right. No infrastructure objects at all.
Absolutely.
No physical infrastructure objects at all. So once you've got your cluster provisioned, if you want to scale up storage, this has been one of the favorite features of this technology so far. You simply pick your Exascale vault, what we call your Exascale vault. When we provisioned it, it had 300 gigs. And so you'll simply select that you want to scale your storage vault. We'll put in 350, increase it by 50 gigs. You save those changes, and within a couple of minutes, your new storage is available and online. So what's actually interesting here is, what did you not see? You did not see any extensive wait time. You didn't see any advanced planning, and you didn't see critically any rebalance. That's all taken care of by Exascale technology under the hood. And so for the user, the great thing is you go from a capacity to a capacity, boom, you have it, and that's it. It makes it much more simple, much more cloudy than we've ever had before. And again, this storage still is Exadata storage. It has all the performance capabilities, all the available capabilities that you expect in an Exadata product. So that's it. That's the short demo.
Thanks, Bryce.
Thank you.
Charles, back to you.
Charles, I'm not sure if you're on mute.
Right, sorry about that, guys. Before we end, I wanted to go through a couple of our case studies of big Exadata customers. One of our biggest Exadata customer is a fitness management company, and they were due for an Exadata upgrade. And this is the classic customer where we sat with their CIO, looked at their license cost, looked at the um, pay-as-you-go license included with XSCC and XSCS. And so they chose to go to XSCC for all of their production and disaster recovery environments. We just went live a couple of months ago from last year's acquisition. And then their plans, original plans, were to go with um, Exadata, XSCS and OCI in the future. But now they're with Exa at AWS, they're changing their strategy a little bit. And so their long-term play will probably end up going Exadata at AWS. And so they're also a Azure customer as well. And now with Exascale, we'll be able to give them alternative solutions as well. And they're just like any other company, they're a huge VMware customer, and they're looking at going to OCVS as part of their journey as well. We have a huge financial customer. They recently purchased two more nodes for their compute, as well as two more nodes for their storage. Their original Exadata footprint was a 10 node compute at two data centers. So they had 10 nodes rack cluster in one part of town and another 10 node cluster at another part of town connected by dark fiber. And they truly leveraged active data centers with Golden Gate and with Active Data Guard. They leveraged global data services so that from an application perspective, it sees a 24 node rack cluster and it load balances based on their workload. And they are one of the few customers that we know of that have truly embraced and have gone all in on the Platinum MAA technology stack. And so they heavily leverage edition-based redefinition. When they do their code releases, it's zero downtime. They have code releases that happen every month across each of the data centers. And because they leverage Golden Gate, they take zero downtime when they do all of their code releases. And so heavy implementer of Golden Gate, like I said, we finished phase three a couple of years ago, but for them it was all about replacing their data domain. Most importantly was creating immutable and ransomware proof backups. They went back and forth between ZDLRA and ZFS and chose to use ZFS as their solution. It's mainly because the way that they take backups are kind of convoluted. But again, now they're sitting on a 12 node rack cluster at each data center, and they will upgrade to Exadata 11M soon. And their end goal is to take out all the vBlocks and replace them with Exadata. And so, big customers, heavy consumers of Exadata. And at this point, we would like to open up to the attendees if they have any questions.
And while you guys are coming up with any final questions, don't forget this is a live recorded webinar, so you can go back to it and reference it. And if you think of any questions afterwards, after we close out, feel free to email them our way and we can get you any answers from any of our speakers today.
And one thing too is that, we have some customers who want private discovery, and we do offer that as well. Customers who may have, um, can we do a 30-minute, 1 hour brainstorming session about which technology is the best for me, that kind of stuff. Um, Reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to do that with y'all.
Awesome. And I see one question about getting a copy of the PowerPoint. So you will have access to the recording, the slide deck, and any other resources that our speakers may have for you, whether they're links or attachments. So you'll have all of that, and just give us maybe a day to get everything posted, and we'll email you guys with that information. All right. If no other questions, I would love to thank our amazing three speakers today. It's always nice to have representation from Oracle Product Management with us. So thank you so much, Ashish and Bryce, for giving us your time today. NYOUG, Coleman, and Rob, thank you guys so much. And as always, Charles, thanks for giving us your time. Charles is my boss, by the way, so I'm always hounding him for time. So I'm very thankful we got an hour of everyone's busy schedules today. So thank you all so much.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
Okay, Charles. Thank you, NYOUG. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.